Hey, welcome back to The Irrational, the podcast where we discuss various pieces of media and the fears that they've instilled in us. I don't really have time to talk this week, so I'll make this brief, but this week's guest is the very funny Mike O'Keefe. Mike is a good friend of mine. He's so funny, you're going to love him. We discuss Mike's fear of snakes and Indiana Jones movies and masculinity problems and a bunch of shit. Great conversation. You're going to love it. Like usual, we plug everything at the end of the episode. So without further ado, Mike O'Keefe.
That works for me.
If there's a video component to this podcast, just make it be like a map, but not a real map, like a map of conversation topics that there's a red line going to each one.
Yeah.
Like
I don't have any video component or skills to incorporate one.
Cool, man. Cool. That's probably a different RSS feed.
Yeah. So if you're wondering who is describing loosely what singing is and how to, I don't know. This is Mike O'Keefe.
Hey, what's up,
Hi,
dudes?
Mike. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. It's a lovely Saturday afternoon.
This is very nice.
It is not. There's a nice window cracked.
Yeah.
It's good. You have a lot of cool things in your house.
Yeah, a lot of bullshit.
You do have a lot of. You have one of those houses that I think a lot of comedians have, where they're basically 13-year-olds with unlimited allowance.
Uh-huh.
So it's like, yeah, I'll get a pop vinyl of whatever.
Yeah.
And then they're just on a bookshelf.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
It's great.
Is most of the bullshit in my house came from before comedy took over my life and made me poor.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
And then other stuff is I accidentally subscribed too long for a subscription box service that I will not name because who knows, they might be a sponsor one day.
Who knows?
That's
yes.
a big who knows.
But with that said, everyone who found this podcast knows exactly what you're talking about.
Sure, for sure. I'll probably edit all of this out.
You're good.
No, I'm fine. I'm so far away from any sort of sponsorships anyhow, I don't really mind.
Hey, don't say that. All right. There's a lot of people that would love to sponsor this podcast.
Oh, yeah? Would you like to sponsor my podcast?
Not at all. I can't think of anything I'd want to do less.
But yeah, I accidentally subscribed way longer than I intended. What it was is I forgot to cancel before they re-upped. So now I just have so many trinkets. I don't need trinkets. Like, it's a cool service. I'm not shitting on the service, but at one point I was like, I got too much shit. Like, I don't have a big enough apartment for this.
Yeah.
And I forgot to cancel. Now I just have way more than I need.
I have a couple friends that work for a service that's similar to this, but is for clothes.
Okay.
They work for a club that you might find in the back of someone's car.
Sure. Or on the front of an elephant's face.
Or in the front of an elephant's face. And most of their customer service is being like, "Oh, you forgot to cancel it. We can give you half." And then people are like, "Oh, okay, I guess it's cool. Close or whatever." And that's the whole. It's honestly, like most of their job. It's really weird.
Honestly, half is generous because they legally.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
They legally have the right to be like,
do shit.
"Sorry,
yeah.
why didn't you cancel in time?"
Yeah.
So half is actually pretty nice that they even do that.
No,
I should have even tried.
Yeah.
I didn't try. Maybe I could have cut it down.
Who knows? You could have given them a call. You know.
I bet that's standard. I bet they go, look.
It has to be
hundreds of people every hour are going to call in and say, "We forgot to cancel our service." Yeah. We can't say no to every single one of them.
But
so just give them half.
Just give them a little bit. Yeah, that's most of my customer service background working for a company that I will name. Vivid Seats was saying, "No, you can't have any money back," and then them screaming at me, and then me getting a tiny bit of a drinking problem.
Oh, for sure.
It's hard not to if you get getting screamed at.
I had a customer service job.
Yeah.
Selling STD tests on the phone.
Oh boy.
So yeah, you've heard Sonya's material about it. It's not a pleasant.
That sounds. Oh man.
Imagine someone is angry because they want a refund for their money, but also they're panicking because
they might have the clap.
Yeah. Clap is good. Like
Clap's not bad.
We don't have to talk about that job. That job scarred me. What a fucking job. Man.
Welcome to the Terrible Jobs podcast. I'm your host, Mike O'Keefe.
We're going in a different
and
direction.
I don't have the clap. It's great to be here, you guys.
Mike's taking over my RSS feed to just confirm that he doesn't have STDs.
I am in. Just everyone out there, I don't have the clap. And quit telling me I do on the internet. All right.
Man, do you know which one is the clap?
Isn't that HPV?
It is
the clap?
gonorrhea.
Gonorrhea.
I always thought it was chlamydia.
I definitely don't
because
have
the
I don't have any
sound.
of it.
But then
that's why you thought.
I thought it was like their dumb. What it is?
That's hilarious.
Is
you thought they had a mnemonic device?
You know what? I thought it was, but you know what it is?
Yeah.
Olden time solution. You put your penis right there in the book. They clap it shut.
That's hilarious.
Squirts out all the junk.
It squirts out all the
and they thought that was getting rid of it. I mean, this might relate to last week. I talked to Zach Peterson, and he brought up humors, like bloodletting and like mucus and shit. Maybe like they thought like, oh, get out most of the gross junk, and then the penis is fine.
And you know how you get the clap in the first place? You get the gross junk out, and then you have to get the gross junk out. Yeah, it's terrible.
Different gross
junk.
I
call my
just as gross
junk.
I mean, it is. We've all
seen
it.
It's disgusting. My cum especially. It's terrible.
Oh, we've gone too far.
We really have. This has been fantastic. I
found out this week that a good amount of family listens to my podcast.
Oh boy!
So
hey, how's it going?
Sorry,
Mr. and Mrs. Rohr.
Everyone. They're like the two people that would be like, they wouldn't give a shit. Actually, no. My dad is kind of more prude. My mom would just laugh and think I'm an idiot.
So
for talking about gross junk.
Me and my girlfriend, who's also a comedian, you guys might know her. Her name is Paula Poundstone.
Yeah.
Great
lady.
Mallory Bradford, what's up? How's it going? At MP Bradfo on Twitter.
Hey, we get to plugs at the end.
Oh, I'm sorry.
You can plug your
girlfriend's Twitter. I brought her to open for me in Holly, Michigan a couple weeks ago.
For sure, nepotism. Awesome.
Yeah, of course. That's how it works.
And I've opened for my girlfriend plenty.
Yeah, of course.
I've guest spotted on her shows is what I mean to say. I've never opened for her.
Listen, I got Bradford a soup and a salad for doing these shows.
Fuck yeah. And salad.
And so I have a joke about the first time we hooked up. And my parents came to one of the shows. They had like just met her the day before.
For sure.
And it was one of those things where like halfway through I was like, oh man, should I be doing this? And then I was like, oh, I have to do this.
Yeah.
Like my parents would be mad at me if I didn't.
Yeah, same.
Do that bit.
Yeah.
They'd be like, why didn't you? We want to know what you actually do up there. And I'm like, fine. She says munchbox a lot to me. There you go.
I had just written these 2 jokes. They're like my hottest jokes at the time, so I had to tell them at the show that my parents were coming to.
I remember those jokes. They were very hot.
Yeah, it's the only 2 hot jokes I've ever written. But one was about choke sex, and the other was about the DARE program.
Yeah,
and I was more concerned about admitting to my parents that I smoked weed in high school than talking about having choke sex.
I had a moment when after I graduated college where I had to be like you guys know that I drank a ton and smoked a bunch of weed in high school, and they were like, we're not dumb. It's like we're just kind of old. We're not stupid people.
That's like looking back, I'm like,
we've seen Fast Times.
My parents had to have. I was not good at hiding it. Every stoner thinks they're good at hiding it.
Looking back now, I was so bad at hiding it.
Yeah,
and like
even if you're amazing at hiding it, dupe tubes don't do anything for smell. Like you can't. They do so little. Yeah. You can smell it on everyone.
Also, I think you get to a certain age in your adolescence where your parents are like, okay, there's no use in us yelling at him anymore.
Right.
We just need to let him figure out how much of a dipshit he is.
Right.
And I think that's where my parents got when I was about 16, where they're like, listen, we're going to make him go to school when he's hungover. It's just going to happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
You know?
They get to a point where they're just
I'm grateful they did. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Because it teaches you any kind of responsibility.
Oh, totally.
If you're going to do something stupid, be responsible about it.
Yeah.
They get to a point where they're like, don't fucking kill yourself.
Yeah.
Like that's the only thing we're going to yell at you for is if you almost kill yourself.
The amount of times since my parents have known that I'm a drinker, the amount of times my mom has just been like, just don't fucking drive.
Yeah.
Is like, I was like, you're a good parent.
Yeah.
That's really all you need to do.
Exactly.
Because the other way,
I don't know. I can't admit too many things on the podcast. Put my parents in jail, but they would just do things where they would make it a safe environment and be like,
oh yeah.
Just don't.
I had a ton of friends like that in high school who had parents like that.
But they weren't like, because I also had I don't want to at all make my parents seem like they're the type of people that like would be like, yeah, here's 2/5 and a blunt. Like,
of course.
They were not those parents at all.
We'll just lock the doors at a certain time. Yeah,
exactly.
For sure. You know who else locked a lot of doors?
Indiana Jones?
Dr. Indiana Jones.
I can't believe, what are we, 10 minutes in? And I'm not going to edit any of that out.
Yeah. You shouldn't. That was nice times.
That was fun. Indiana Jones. Mike, that is your media. I never know. Should we talk about the fear first, and then it all kind of bleeds together?
So let me just explain like the role that the first 3 Indiana Jones movies had in my life.
Right.
That was the first Indiana Jones Raiders. The first movie I remember seeing at like 5 years old, which is too young.
Right.
Too young. But my dad is he's an Army veteran. He's an Irish immigrant. He had me when he was in his early 50s.
Yeah.
He just didn't want to watch children's programming at
Absolutely.
that age.
But on top of that, like I'm trying to look it up right now, the rating system was so fucked back then.
It was PG.
Yeah, it's a PG movie. Right? That's what I thought.
So my dad was probably just like, whatever. But like, there's a scene where the woman who is also in Animal House, I'm completely blanking on her name right now. She's like in a drinking contest.
Yeah.
And then her and Indiana Jones beat the shit out of a bunch of dudes. It's a really, really violent movie. They also, for Temple of Doom, the second one, which I feel like I saw all 3 of those movies like in a row when I was 6.
I think so as well.
Yeah.
What years were they?
Oh man. We should have done any research before this happened.
I'm an idiot. Raiders was 81. Temple of Doom is 84. Okay. Last Crusade is 89. So I was alive for the production for the release of one of those movies. It must have been that type of situation where it
was just like
it's just like, well, we're gonna watch one, let's fucking watch all 3.
We're gonna go through all of them, and I would have been. This is like 95 when I'm seeing these.
Yeah.
So I'm sure my dad had all of them on VHS, and he was just like, "Well, watch all of them." Great.
Yeah.
I don't have to babysit. My dad would.
And your dad, he didn't have any teeth, and he was a prospector when you were.
He was. Yeah, my dad. He would come out.
Watch all of them.
He would come out with his overalls that only went down to his calves, and his straw hat. We're gonna watch all the. He's an archaeologist. And I'm sure he just whipped through all those movies like bam, 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 bam. And like I remember learning, like now going back, like the sound in those movies when Indiana Jones punches someone in the face, it sounds like a goddamn bomb is going off.
Yeah,
it's the
pretty
craziest
intense
thing. And I do remember, and I think a lot of boys are kind of obsessed with masculinity at a young age. We're like, I want to be a man. I want to shoot things, punch things out.
Right.
And like that was kind of I think that's what kicked that off for me, was seeing those movies like bam, 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 bam like that. I was like, oh, that guy's a man.
Because he's just so cool. It's effortless, but he's also like
coolest guy.
This tough dude. And it's like, that's how you get cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be tough.
It's like leather jacket, hat, bullwhip. That's all you need.
Yeah.
And you're the shit.
And it doesn't look good on anyone but him.
Oh, no one. No one. Have you ever seen like a regular person wear an Indiana Jones hat?
Yeah.
They look like the biggest fucking dipshits.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's such
so
a bummer.
bad.
They look like
so
a tourist.
Bad. Yeah.
Like, they look like they're a tourist at Disney World or Universal Studios.
Yeah.
They just bought this plastic hat.
That's the one hat they had at Disney's Animal Kingdom.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
so rare to meet someone that can pull that off.
Yeah.
Man,
it's
rare.
There's
so masculinity.
Person. Yeah, so that I feel like that was my first, because I was like, dude, this guy. There's all these crazy guys with guns. He just has a whip.
Yeah,
and he's punching them in the face.
Yeah,
but he also is like smart, which is the catalyst for the entire movie. Is like, oh, he's like the one tough archaeologist in the history of academia.
He's tough, but he's also like a brilliant mind.
He's a very smart guy.
Yeah.
He's a college professor. All the girls really wanted to do him.
Yeah,
all the time.
real bad.
all the time. The girl's got the
young Harrison Ford. Jeez,
what a handsome.
What a
I
smoke
think he's
show.
still pretty hot.
Yeah, he's a hunky dude.
I think if tweet at us at a whatever that is.
I don't have I don't have an email set up for this. I don't have a Twitter. I don't have a Facebook.
For you.
I'm doing this so poorly.
Attaboy.
This is for me.
Yeah, tweet it at the Mike O'Keefe. Let me know if
This isn't even recording, honestly. Sorry.
this is a great way to just get me to hang out with you. At the Mike O'Keefe. Let me know if you still want to bone current Harrison Ford, which probably, you know what I mean?
No
he was
one's
in like the biggest movie last year.
Yeah.
He's still got a great career that anyone would be, and he's a fantastic woodworker.
Is he?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You didn't know that about him?
No.
He's like a carpenter.
Like
I
knew that's how he was picked up.
Carpenter.
Wasn't
Yeah,
it like
yeah.
Spielberg saw him?
Yeah, because he did
putting
set
in a
design
carpet.
for something, and he was like, I gotta have.
Oh, so
one."
this was on
Yeah.
set at least.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
He wasn't at Spielberg's house.
I thought Spielberg was getting work done. He's like, that dude's fucking handsome.
That's a hot guy.
That's a movie star right there.
You ever hear about space?
Oh man, it is Spielberg, right? I always get all of them confused. Like
Yeah.
Spielberg.
Spielberg is Indiana Jones.
Okay.
Yeah. But like
Okay.
Spielberg and George Lucas, and they all kind of meld together.
I think there's one more that I confuse with them too. They just blur.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah, Kevin Smith, exactly. I've never been good to remember like anyone who's not the actor.
Yeah.
Like directors, producers. I always forget that shit.
Totally.
And then I always thought it was kind of inconsequential. And then as an adult,
Yeah.
I'll be like, oh, I love this movie. And people are like, well, yeah, it's that guy. And
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, fuck. Yes, I
That's
just like this
actually-
director.
yeah.
Why didn't I seek out all of his movies before?
You didn't realize it.
Yeah.
That was the thing that like happened for me when I got into film school. I was like, I got a minor in film from a Big Ten school.
Sure.
It's not an intensive program. But that was like, I kind of had the same exact thing where they're like, yeah, those are all Spike Lee movies. I was like, whoa, oh, okay, all right.
Spike Lee changed my life.
That guy that yells at Reggie Miller. All right, cool. Yeah, I'm in. Yeah. Oh, Tarantino. Okay, cool. He's the guy that says the N-word in all those movies I like. Sweet,
Nonstop.
sweet. Yeah.
Always writes himself in with an N-word
What
line.
a dumbass. What an idiot. But yeah, Indiana Jones was like this guy. He's handsome. He does all this shit. But his one fault, his kryptonite,
Yeah.
snakes.
Snakes.
And that did a really weird thing for me in my head where at a very young age, I was like, oh, fuck.
Gotcha.
Snakes.
So this is
snakes.
Because when you just said snakes, I was like, you saw a movie with scary snakes in it, you got scared.
No.
There's a whole different psychological connection.
This is a big thing.
You're living vicariously through Harrison Ford, through Indiana Jones, and you see him be afraid of snakes, and you're like, well, if the man that I idolize,
if the guy who's teaching me how to be a man is scared of snakes,
that's interesting.
Might be something to this snakes thing.
Yeah.
And then there's a scene in every movie where he's just in a room with snakes.
For sure, yeah.
It's a staple of the genre, and he has the same line every time where he goes, ugh, snakes. Why's it gotta be snakes? And then I was like, oh, I can't be scared of snakes. And then I looked and I was like, fuck, snakes are like, I hate them now.
Yeah.
I legitimately hate them.
You still can't.
I can't. I literally can't.
What about like the smallest snake, like a tiny garter snake? Would you?
If a snake was smaller than my phone,
Okay.
I think I could do it.
Okay.
I think. But anything larger than that,
They are weird.
they're really weird.
They
No
move around
legs.
weird.
I think that the biggest thing for me is no legs.
Yeah.
And their whole body is one part.
Right.
So it seems like an inanimate object.
Yeah.
And then it moves. So just the first part is just being startled
Yeah.
that this stick is moving. The second thing is the coldness in their eyes.
Okay.
The coldness in their eyes is terrifying to me because their eyes are like black.
Sure.
Like, there's nothing happening there.
That
Snake
I've never really.
Snake doesn't love anything. Snake doesn't love anything.
Oh man, there are. I think aren't there like snakes that eat bird eggs and then lay their own eggs? Or no, I think that's a lizard.
Oh, what?
It's like the idea is they eat the bird eggs and then they lay the eggs in the nest, and then the bird raises, like it hatches the eggs.
Yeah.
Of the but I think it's actually a lizard. I think I'm wrong about this. And then the lizard, they come out and they eat the bird.
Good news.
Afraid of lizards?
This expands to all reptiles.
Oh, really?
Any and all reptiles.
How about amphibians? Frogs and shit? Toads?
I can get down with some frogs, but
Okay.
it's got to be like a fun frog.
Sure.
You know?
You don't have to elaborate.
That was one of the greatest takes I've ever done.
Fun
No one's ever going to see it.
Yeah, frog's a dick. Get him out
Yeah,
of here.
and, you know when you're at a party and you're like, "Hey, it's a cool party, everyone's drinking," and then a fucking frog comes in. It's like, the record stops. It's terrible.
Well, you can get down with fun frogs.
Yeah,
one
fun
of the
frog.
good ones.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, it's fun. Hey, hopping in. He brought food from his job at Rainforest Cafe. It's a nice time.
As being a giant frog sitting on top
Yeah,
of the
of
rainforest
course.
cafe.
But yeah, and then
it freaks you out.
Slither around, and then just the idea of that tiny mouth, because the snake's head is very small.
Yeah.
But then that tiny mouth having fangs and venom,
Yeah.
it gets me to this day, to the point where if there's a snake on TV, I have to change the channel.
Really? So
Yeah.
you couldn't watch, even for comedic effect, you couldn't watch Snakes on a Plane?
No, I couldn't. I remember
That's how bad this is.
This is 100% true. Wow. I remember being in a basement in high school, and like my buddies being like, "Hey, Snakes on a Plane, it's on Showtime. Let's watch it. It's gonna be hilarious."
Yeah.
And then me just being like, "Oh, I'm gonna go upstairs," and then just me falling asleep upstairs at this kid's house.
Wow. You are the second person to have that
Yeah.
story, except the first
really?
one was more legitimate.
Oh yeah, mine's a weird thing.
He did it because he was just afraid of. It's my best friend John.
Yeah.
He was afraid of scary movies just in general.
Yeah.
And he told a story about being at a slumber party and he went upstairs because he didn't want to watch it. Yeah. And then, but his was like an actual scary movie, and he was a small child.
oh no, I was
plane in high school?
15.
But I mean,
there
if
was
that's your
snakes in this
core
movie.
fear,
Oh, totally, yeah.
If it gives you the heebie-jeebies, you gotta avoid it.
Yeah. So I go upstairs and I fall asleep upstairs, and then the kid's mom comes down at like 8, and she goes, "What's wrong? What are you doing here?" And then I had to say to Cameron and his mom, "Oh, there was a snake on TV," and then I went back to. There was a snake on TV.
Wait, so she woke you up to ask?
It was like 8 a.m. because I slept. I fell asleep, asleep.
Yeah.
And she was like, "Why are you up here?" And I was like, "Oh, there's a snake on TV downstairs." And it was like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then I went back downstairs.
Oh, Mike, how old were you?
I was 15.
15. Okay, 15's
Yeah,
that's excusable.
I don't think it is. I
Probably
really
not.
don't think it is.
I'm probably just saying that because I was a huge coward until I was like 19. So
Yeah. Man, and then there's a couple other things that have happened where like I've been near a snake.
yeah.
My parents still live in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and they have like a kind of a big forest preserve behind their house.
Sure.
And you hop a fence and you're in a protected forest. It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I was back there walking when I was 13 and very new to marijuana, and me and my buddy Dan were smoking and walking around back there, and there's like a clearing. We good?
Yeah.
Okay,
Sorry.
cool. You're fine. There's a clearing, and then we're just walking, and we're having fun, and you're like that 13-year-old high where you're just like everything's great,
Right.
and then just a rattlesnake is right there in the middle of the trail.
Rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Wait, where'd you grow up?
In Michigan.
Michigan. There's rattlesnakes in Michigan?
Apparently.
Fuck.
It made and then it did the
Yeah.
thing at us. And that's the fastest I've ever run. I just turned around and ran so far the other way.
That's intense.
Yeah.
Because first off, that's if you're high as a child, especially.
Yeah.
You're high and you are confronted.
We were children.
Right.
Yeah.
You're confronted with your biggest fear, even if it's the shittiest version, even if it was a garter snake.
Yeah.
You're high, you're a kid, you see that's horrifying, like already. Yeah. But you saw a snake that would scare people that aren't afraid of snakes.
It would scare
it's
anybody.
a legitimately frightening snake.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Especially when it's like coiled and ready, because I think when they're in that circle, that's when they're ready.
Right, they're gonna spring at you.
Yeah. They're loading up.
Yeah.
It's terrifying. Snakes. Oof.
I'd say rattler is probably the most famous of the actual dangerous snakes. Just maybe not the most famous. It's just like it's such an interesting defense tactic, the rattle.
Yeah.
So I think it's just like the most well known because it's so bizarre. It's such a strange fucking thing for that snake. So I feel like that's just like the most. So you see it and you instantly hear that sound and you recognize like, oh, this is the dangerous one. This is the one they warn you about on TV and movies.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. And not just that. That's also a sound that you don't hear in everyday life.
No.
But it is a sound like the two things that rattle are a baby's toy and a rattlesnake. I think that's pretty fucked up.
That's weird.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why have rattlers for babies?
Yeah, why not give babies snakes? Just cut the middleman out.
Little tiny snakes.
Just give babies tiny snakes. No, there'd probably be a lot less snake fear going on. But it was one of those things where I always felt like that was okay though. Yeah. Because Indiana Jones was scared of him. I was like, that's the most.
Sure. So you embraced the fact that you didn't like fight it. You weren't ashamed of it.
Yeah, I'm good with being scared of this.
Yeah.
And I think that's also a bit of a defense tactic. It's like a fear of an inanimate object. And I've read a little bit about this. Like a fear of an inanimate object you can kind of get over eventually.
Sure.
Just because you're not in danger of something that's not going to move.
Sure.
But like a fear of a living thing, be it a snake or shark or whatever. Like we have a buddy, Dave Rader, who's terrified of dogs.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's never gonna change for him. But I've tried so many times.
I just thought it was funny. You started that sentence 10. You're like it, but he just it.
Well, because I'm like I feel bad for him because he's one of my best friends, but
just really afraid of dogs.
He's really scared of dogs to the point where it kind of affects his life.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, Mike and I are both dog walkers. Yeah. How often do you see people cross the street to avoid you?
Rarely.
Yeah.
Very rarely.
But when they do,
it's a very fast cross. And it's not just a cross, it's also a version of their eyesight.
Yeah.
Like
they don't even want to look at it.
They don't even want to look at it because they think
I was afraid of something, I would not stop staring at it because I'm like, it could get me.
I'm keeping a fucking eye on this thing. You know what I mean? But it's a fast cross, and it's also I've literally seen people put up a shield for their eyes. Which
I wonder if that's like a mental because like they have there's the idea that you could piss off animals by looking them in the eyes. Yeah, maybe they just want to avoid eye contact at all costs. I don't know.
That totally makes sense. And I feel like looking a snake in the eyes would be like the worst thing that I could do.
Sure.
Like that would be that the snake would see that as an affront.
Yeah.
And it would immediately see me as a threat. Yeah. But back to the original point, it's tougher to get over a fear of things that are living because it's a defense mechanism. It's like, oh, that thing is active and might kill me, so I'm going to stay scared of that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Also, for your listeners who might not know, snakes cannot talk.
No.
So there's no real reason
except for
it,
the snake,
the jungle book. Yeah.
Eve.
Yes.
We went in two different directions.
Went two very different directions.
I went Bible.
I went 70s cartoon.
or recent movie.
Did you see it?
No,
I can't see it because there's a snake in it.
Oh, okay. How about the cartoon snake? Did that bother you as a kid?
I hated it. I hated that fucking movie.
Wow.
A snake.
So even
there's also a snake in the Disney.
He's very sinister. It freaked me out.
He is.
Because he's drawn like a silly snake, but the things he does, like he hypnotizes. That plays into like your fear. Don't look in those eyes.
The eyes.
Fuck.
The eyes, man. I believe there's also a snake in the Disney Robin Hood where it's a fox.
Yeah.
Right.
It's
he's fucking.
He's not the king.
Is
he the king?
Yeah.
I think the snake.
I think he's like the buddy of the king.
Maybe he's the buddy. He's the underling because the lion is the king. He's like the underling to the king.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And so that movie flipped me out. Both those movies were just like, oh,
wow,
terrifying. And now, I hate to bring her up again, but my girlfriend also same exact fear of snakes.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which is how we met. We met on a chat room for snake haters.
Yeah, for sure.
It just blossomed.
That old story.
Yeah, boy meets girl, girl hates snake.
Tale as old as time.
Tale as old as time. Whenever there's a snake on TV and we're both watching it, we both literally have to like not look at it. And there's been stretches where it gets to the point where we're both not looking at the screen for so long.
Yeah.
That like it's like 5 minutes have gone by and both of us are too scared to look at the TV.
Sure.
Just because of snakes. And it's just if someone just saw two grown adults on the couch like curled in little balls because a snake's on TV, that's the fucking craziest thing.
Because it is. You never know when it's gonna go away.
I'm not looking. You look. I'm not gonna
like,
look. Why would I look at that? It's a fucking snake. It's the worst thing in the world. It's on the goddamn TV. I'm not gonna look.
And then you just change the channel.
Yeah, yeah. And eventually,
how many movies have you half finished because a snake appeared midway? I guess that's actually a legitimate question. How
that
many
actually
movies
is.
have you turned
That's
I said it as a
thing.
joke, and then I'm like, no, that's a good question, Charlie.
actually
You're not that bad at this interviewing shit.
You're doing a great job.
I don't need a concrete number, but does it happen?
It's definitely happened. I've walked out of a movie because of a snake before. Fuck. Yeah, that's definitely happened. I'm gonna think about it.
But so you say you walked out.
Yeah.
A snake appeared. Was it a crucial part of a scene, or did it become a crucial part of the movie? Like, what was the idea? You just saw a snake and you couldn't handle it and you left? Or was it like, oh, this snake is now a major player in this movie. I'm going to have to deal with this snake for the next 45 minutes.
I think it was probably at least one of each scenario.
Really?
I think there's a big snake in one of the Expendables movies.
Okay.
And that was just like, okay, there's probably going to, like, these guys are dumb enough that this snake is going to come back. And I'm not going to stick around to get scared again by a snake. At Expendables 7 or whatever. Right. Like, I'm fucking out of here.
You could just rewatch Expendables 3 and 4 and get the same experience.
Yeah, exactly. Like, this is dumb. That's usually what it is. I was like, oh, there's a snake. This is dumb. I'm not going to freak out in a theater. Because I see a lot of movies alone. I'm not going to freak out alone.
You go to the theater alone?
Oh, all the time.
I'm so jealous of that. I've done it
You can't
twice.
Do it? You don't like it?
When I'm there, I love it.
Yeah.
But leading up to like leaving, you
got
to drag yourself out of the house to go alone.
We
don't need to talk about this.
If you ever have a podcast about your favorite things to do, I'd love to come back and talk about going to the movies alone at length. I have a whole ritual. It's so much fun. I love it. I went yesterday. It's great.
What'd you see?
I saw Nice Guys.
Yeah.
Oh,
How's
it's great.
that?
Oh, it's the funniest movie to come out this year.
We almost saw Nice Guys, but we were too.
It's great. It's really
we had
good.
too many brownies.
Yeah.
And then we decided I shouldn't.
That's a
say
good.
That.
That's
like I said, family now.
Yeah.
Listens.
And they know that you and Sonia have a bit of a sweet tooth, and that's fine. It's very funny. You would get very much lost in the plot if you weren't completely lucid.
That's what I felt like. It was between that or the new Bourne movie, and I was like, I'm not seeing either of these in this mindset. It's also, here's my favorite thing about going to the movies alone. And again, welcome back to my favorite thing to do with Mike O'Keefe. It's fine. Small tangents are fine. 20 minutes later. Anyways, my favorite thing to do with Mike O'Keefe.
My favorite thing
movies
to do.
Alone.
But one of my favorite reasons why I like going alone is because I can see nonsense and no one has to know about it. I can see some real dumb shit. I can see some really bad movies.
And you don't have to feel embarrassed or anything.
Yeah. I have seen all of the Purge movies alone.
Sure.
I love them. They're pieces of shit.
Yeah.
They're so bad. But I've seen all of them in the theaters alone. It's a nice little date for me and myself to go out and people are like, oh, I wonder how they're gonna like rationalize this dumb thing for the fourth movie in a row. I wonder how they're going to do it.
Yeah, just keep raising the stakes on this really weird concept.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And this one's apparently got a political message. I don't fucking know.
Those are at least fun.
Yeah.
They're dumb fun.
Totally.
So you not, you shouldn't feel
I'm not seeing,
Pitch Perfect 2. I hear those are great, actually.
Oh, those movies are fantastic.
I've never seen either.
You'd enjoy the Pitch Perfect
I hadn't heard of
series.
Pitch Perfect until people started talking about how excited they were for Pitch Perfect 2.
There's no snakes in that movie.
So it's your favorite.
A+. Yeah, it's great.
God. So I guess we should talk about snakes still. I am so susceptible to tangents.
It's fun.
I thought I would get better. I used to be like really diligent about no tangents, and then I thought I would become better at it. But now, as I'm becoming more comfortable in conversation on a microphone, the tangents are going crazy.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know.
But I think that's also listener.
like this.
I think that's also the staple of like of what you said, a comfortable host and a good rapport. And we do have a nice rapport. We've known each other for near on 4 years now.
Yeah.
And I feel like we could talk about how I love the Purge movies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Purge,
it's, I mean, I have
Purge
known
is
people
the
for
Wurge.
about 4 years, and I
Yeah.
can't have a conversation with them.
Yeah. That's what.
No one on this podcast yet.
No.
Don't worry. Anyways, the Purge is the Wurge.
Yeah, the Purge is the Wurge.
And
That's-
I spoke over it, and I just needed everyone to.
That's
hear that you
my.
said that.
I love the Purge movies so much. I made them a slogan.
Snakes in those movies.
I believe there are in one of them, but not enough snake for me to get out. Here's the other thing. There's also a level of snake that I'm okay. If it's the idea of a snake, I'm okay. It's literally the sight of a snake. Someone goes, if I just see a little slithering, that's okay. And I don't see the whole snake, that's cool.
Okay.
If I see a bag kind of move, like I love Jake the Snake, the professional wrestler.
Okay.
Because that's not a snake that's sneaking up on you. You see the bag. He's going, I got this bag full of snake.
Oh,
And then
I've never watched
Yeah.
wrestling. He literally has bags of snakes.
He has
or at least machines
one
that look
snake.
like there's snakes.
No, there's snakes.
Oh, okay.
Here's the other thing. A snake is always going to sneak up on you, and that's my biggest trigger for
Sure.
being scared.
Yeah.
Is sneaking up. So Jake the Snake Roberts, who was a big deal, kind of from like his heyday in WWE was 86 to like
Present.
no
No,
he
kidding.
he's done. I know. Guy, God love Jake. Horrific crack at. He's clean now, but
Yeah.
he was a horrible.
Isn't there a
addict.
documentary on
Yes,
Netflix?
it's on Netflix. It's if you like watching buff grown men cry, the Jake the Snake documentary is for you.
Ooh,
Oh
that's my
boy,
favorite.
a lot of crying, a lot of buff.
So he carries a snake
He
out,
would
and
carry-
that didn't bother you.
Yeah, it would because I saw it the entire way. His name's Jake the Snake. That's number one.
Yeah.
So I'm okay. I understand. You're warning me. He walks to the ring with a burlap bag with a snake in it. That's okay. You're literally showing me the snake. You understand? He's not popping out with it around his neck.
Right.
Just got it walking out there. And then he just puts it in the corner. And then at the end of the match, he sees it. He holds up the bag after he's defeated his foes with his famed DDT.
Yeah.
He's laying there, and then he'll dump the snake out on the guy. And the snake, big old boa constrictor, is just kind of like, not really active snake.
Right.
That's fine. That's okay. You're showing me everything. It's good. It's totally all right.
Okay.
It's fine. Nothing's sneaking
As long as they
up on
don't
me.
zoom in on its face. You're
Yeah,
gonna
as long as
be
it's not,
fine in
yeah,
that situation.
Yeah, totally. And I don't see the tongue too. I don't like the tongue.
They're creepy.
The tongue's so creepy. But if there's a snake, if you're just like if it's one of those deals where in a movie, you walk into a room and you knock on the door and there's no answer. It's like, okay, we're good. And then you open the door. It's a snake.
Yeah.
Ooh, that's the worst. That's the worst.
What movie is that
I
happening?
don't know.
Knock on the door. There's a snake inside. Oh.
And the snake says, "Welcome. Would you like some?"
Yeah,
would you
snakes
like
do
this?
come out of nowhere.
Yeah,
So-
that's the other thing where it's like the popping up sucks.
Yeah.
The no legs sucks. The tongue sucks. The black beady fucking eyes suck. All those things together, plus it being okay for me to be scared of them
Sure.
and not seem like, less of a man. That's why I'm scared of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just
all that
deep
stuff together.
ingrained in your brain.
Yeah, to the point where it's never gonna change.
And
which
that's
I'm cool
fair.
with. Yeah.
You don't have to if you're
Yeah.
afraid of dogs, probably with the point of David, he's
Yeah.
not going to get past that.
He's
But
done. Yeah.
If you
He's
have
done.
a general fear of dogs, it might benefit you to try to get over it because dogs are everywhere.
Yeah.
Nobody's out there walking snakes though. I mean, there are select douchebags that are out there
there's
walking
some-
snakes.
Man,
And now I just offended my listener again. He always
Man,
sends me pictures of his snake.
if I were to walk into a Starbucks or a Cafe Mustache,
Yeah.
or a Gaslight Coffee, and there was just a guy in there working on his probably god awful screenplay with a fucking boa constrictor around his neck,
Yeah.
it would offend me as much as if a guy was in there with like a swastika T-shirt.
Really?
That's not the right way to phrase that. But you know what I mean. Like that would be as shocking. That would be as shocking to me.
In the long run, you don't think they're as bad of people as one another.
I'm not comparing
You're
Hitler
saying in
to
that
snakes.
moment you'd walk in and be like, "What the fuck?" I
would have the same amount of shock
Sure.
as if I came in and saw a swastika T-shirt or a snake around somebody's neck. It would be as horrific to me, and it would different reactions, but the same level of like oh shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
What if you walked in and someone was wearing a swastika T-shirt and they were working on a shitty screenplay?
I'd be like, listen, sir, this isn't gonna get made.
Oh man.
Also, you're the worst. Please allow me to kick you in the head.
Yeah.
And be like,
it's the two shittiest types of people: working on screenplays and Nazis.
Yeah. Stay in your apartment, work on your screenplay.
What if he had a Nazi T-shirt and a snake?
Oh, that would be the worst guy.
Yeah.
That'd be the worst guy.
Just burn down Chicago.
I would annihilate that person systematically. I would systematically annihilate that person.
So like, does the size matter at all to you?
The size of the snake?
Yeah, because it seems like you'd be as freaked out by a boa constrictor as you would a garter snake, or not a boa. Boa. They're the ones that get big, right?
Big dude. Yeah, the really big guy.
Oh, anaconda. That's the word I'm looking for.
I know the anaconda don't want none, unless you've got buns, hon.
All right, and that's the end of the episode.
See you guys later. That's the end of the podcast.
That's the end of the That's the end of the irrational.
See you later, dude. No,
it's on my RSS feed.
So the anaconda is the big guy. Any of them, honestly, any of them. This like.
Oh, I know they're all scary too. I'm like, is the anaconda more frightening than the boa constrictor?
Yes. Here's why. The anaconda is frightening because it also plays into another fear I have, which is claustrophobia.
Gotcha.
So that's
why I'm afraid of big snakes.
Yeah,
because the crushing,
and
I have a huge claustrophobia.
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah. I went to Wrigley a couple days ago for a concert, and it was just like waiting to get in. I was like, all these people, and my fear with claustrophobia isn't that I'm going to get trampled. It's that something's going to happen.
Yeah.
And we're all not going to be able to leave.
Yes.
For hours.
Sure.
That's my fear. Yeah.
And that's even more frightening because I feel like there's a pretty high chance of someone having a snake dangling around their neck at a Fish concert in Wrigleyville. It was Fish, right?
James. This is going to make me sound terrible. No, I saw James Taylor on Thursday at Wrigley.
At Wrigley Field?
Yeah, James Taylor played Wrigley.
And didn't Fish just play? Is Wrigley doing concerts now?
2 weeks. Yeah, for whatever reason, they're doing like 8, 9 a year now, which is way too much.
Yeah, I mean they're probably trying to make up all that money for all the construction they just
that makes a lot of sense for sure.
Also, if there's not baseball, fucking throw a concert.
Yeah, why not?
Good place.
Comerica does a couple a year in my native Detroit. But no, me and
does James Taylor draw snake people?
No. James Taylor draws your parents' friends who are too old to hang out with your parents.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah. It was also James Taylor. I hate to go on our 97th tangent. James Taylor, every song's a ballad. He also did this amazing thing that I am like fascinated by.
He killed a snake on stage.
he held up a snake and he slit its goddamn throat, and it was amazing.
And that was your favorite concert?
And he went, Kalima, Kalima.
What was the amazing thing James Taylor did?
So after about maybe 45 minutes in, after every song, he's sitting for most of it. After every song, he would stand up, he would take off his hat, and he would bow, and there'd be a giant applause. And every single time it would happen, I'd be like, "Oh, is it over?" Nope. He just sits back down and is like, "Well, this one's about living in North Carolina."
That's so funny. Bloop. That's because they're all ballads.
Thank you very much. Here we go.
He's like, I deserve the applause at the end of a ballad.
So fucking amazing.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I was like, man, if I could figure out a way to do that in my act, I would never stop doing it.
Tell a joke and take a bow every single time.
Like if I were a one-liner guy, I would do that every single time.
Yeah.
Oh God. I'm gonna start writing one-liners just so I can have that as a.
Even if they don't land, you just take them
I
down.
just I wore a hat, fling it around, bow, get back down there.
Love it.
Also, very bow-legged James Taylor. And I think it's because he sits on a stool on stage.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Might be.
I don't know if that's true.
Who knows?
Anyway,
So claustrophobic.
yeah.
So you're afraid of tight spaces and whatnot. So
Mhm.
that's where the big snakes get even scarier.
Yeah, that's because it's two fears.
Yeah.
Because they kill you by squeezing you to death.
Right.
You know?
Even then, I would like. I'd rather be fucking not the squeezing to death part. That's claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But then it's like, just hurry up and crush me.
Yeah.
Because the idea of being inside of a snake alive, like you
Oh,
get swallowed and you're
fuck
still.
that. Yeah.
That's
No, man. No
Man.
way. No way. That's the worst. There was a special on TV not too long ago where a guy went.
Oh,
in
he wanted.
Do you
He
remember
intentionally
that?
tried to get eaten by a snake. I think they canceled it because it was gonna kill the snake. No,
It was gonna
Did they
kill
cancel
something.
it? I don't remember.
He went in like it because he was gonna go in feet first.
Yeah.
It was a really big snake.
Yeah.
And I think it got to like his thighs, and then he was like, "Oh, it just broke my ankles. You got to let me out."
Whoa.
Yeah.
The compression of its stomach
Yeah,
started breaking.
Yeah, like
Never would have thought of
the
that.
esophagus of a snake, like crushed his ankles together.
Wow.
Yeah, it's really scary.
That's
Yeah.
intense. I
Yeah.
never would have considered that.
Yeah,
So like what people wanted to. That's what it was. People wanted to cancel it ahead of time because they're like
that's a nightmare for animal rights.
exactly
Yeah,
because they're like
it's
you're
a nightmare.
sure the snake can do this.
Mm-hmm.
It can eat a man easy, but they're
Yeah.
like, how are you going to get him out? You're gonna have to kill the
Without
snake.
like you're gonna snake C-section.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's no way to, you know. Also, here's the other thing that this is more
Fucking ankles.
weird about snakes
Yeah,
than scary. Do they shit?
I think they have a colloquia. I don't know what the fucking word is. It's a hole that
A butthole.
no, it's pee, poo, and eggs come out of the same
Okay.
hole. Like birds have them.
Yeah, but like you don't hear about snake shit. Does
No,
a
you
snake
don't.
shit in the woods?
So
That's
when
not
I was a
phrase.
kid, I found a gardener snake and garter snake. I always say gardener snake because as a kid I thought that's what they were called.
Me too.
Uh,
You know when I found out
cloaca.
you know when I found out they weren't called gardener snakes?
What?
About 10 seconds ago.
Oh really?
Yeah, I had no idea.
I mean that's just it makes sense because it's like
yeah,
they
there
find them they're tiny.
I was like, oh, you
they're
find them in gardens.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
And the first one I found was in a garden.
Yeah.
But I found it and it wrapped around my finger
Oh man.
and I thought that was the coolest thing.
Yeah.
And then it pooped, and it was like
Okay.
it was similar to bird poop
Yeah.
in that it was
Like old
super liquidy, but
Yeah.
also
pellety.
solid.
Kinda.
Yeah. So like, I think being a cloaca. I always want to say colloquia, but that's a totally different word. I
Completely.
think that's talking about language. I don't know what colloquia means.
Well, colloquial is like slang,
Colloquial.
essentially.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. But yeah,
Professional
cloaca.
writing, Michigan State University.
It is a
How's it
common
going?
cavity at the end of the digestive tract for the release of both excretory and genital products in vertebrates, mostly mammals. Oh, except most mammals, not mostly mammals, and certain invertebrates. So I'm thinking. It says birds, reptiles, amphibians, most fish, and monotremes. So yeah, I guess
I don't know what monotremes are, but they
monotreme
sound-
is like it's like I think platypus are monotremes.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's like I don't know, I forget. They got a lot of. I did a project on monotremes once,
Yeah.
so all I remember is platypus.
I should tell the listener right now, Charlie isn't looking this up on a laptop. He's looking it up in his collection of zoo books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've got the encyclopedia of zoo books.
Of all the zoo books.
Oh wait, Zoo Books the magazine. I'm
Yeah.
a fucking idiot. That could have been a fun riff, but I
It was.
just blew it.
I thought it was nice.
I thought you just.
I was excited I remembered zoo books from my youth.
That's why I'm mad. That would have been a fun because
Yeah.
I thought you just were being dumb and being like zoo books. Books on zoos is what Charlie owns.
I feel like Zoo Books was every third commercial on Nickelodeon.
Sure.
It's like, kids, bug your parents about Zoo Books.
And you did, and
I
they
did,
didn't
and
buy them.
They did not give a shit. But twice a year at the dentist, where that was Zoo Book City, baby.
Occasionally, at the Scholastic Book Fair.
Yeah. Do you remember when advertising towards kids was literally just, hey, buck your parents about this?
Yeah.
It was a very simple time.
Because now it is still that.
Is it really?
It's not literally that anymore. Yeah. They don't literally say it in the commercial. Like, hey, tell your parents.
Yeah.
That's so funny. What a time. The 90s were fucking nuts.
Yeah, man. I just remember watching so much Double Dare.
See, I didn't have cable.
Oh, it's a bummer.
That's why I think that's why I have like such bad social skills. Is because everyone at school is talking about cable programs, and I'm like, did you guys see Arthur this weekend? We addressed that in my best friend episode. Yeah? That's why we're best friends. Is because neither of us had cable.
There you go.
I'm just referring to that as my best friend episode now. What am I doing?
There's nothing wrong with that.
It pooped. It pooped on my finger.
It pooped on your finger. This gardener
like
snake.
Liquidy gross bird poop. So I'm assuming that's how they poop.
Yeah.
Is they just excrete all their gross stuff
at this one
in
place.
That nasty mixture of.
Oh man.
I'm guessing. I'm not a scientist. Try as I might.
You have been in college for 18 years, and you're still not a full-fledged scientist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because I've been an art major for most of those years.
Yeah.
So this doesn't affect you day to day. Normally I say like, how do you deal with this? But for you, you clearly just cover your eyes.
Yeah, I covered my eyes like a weirdo, and then I just hope nothing happens. And then, so it has affected parts of my life though. I dated this girl in college, and then a little bit after college, and she was not afraid of snakes, and I remember one time we went to the zoo, the Detroit Zoo, and I'm going to tell you the story, and you're going to say, why wasn't that the end? And that's not the point of the story. It's not those stories. I love telling them. I love hearing them. Yeah, right. So we were walking around, and she's like, "Oh, the reptile house," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll try the reptile house." Because, it was that point in the relationship where you're like a year in, and it's not going great, but you're like, I don't want this to end. Yeah. Then I have to be single again, and that's really scary. I just graduated from college. I can't. I'd have to change my life. Yeah. So drastically. Be alone right now? Yeah. I can't. That's literally what it was. It was literally, I can't be alone right now. So I go into the reptile house with her, and I'm just like, okay, I know it's snakes. This is gonna be Jake the Snake thing. This is not gonna be a different thing. Right.
They're not sneaking up on you.
They're not sneaking up on me.
Cages.
It's there's a fucking there is a goddamn label on this house. Yeah. It doesn't say house, and then I go in and it's all reptiles. It says reptile house. I think I'm gonna be okay. And I get in there, and I'm looking at the first one, the first kind of giant terrarium type deal, and I'm looking, I'm like, oh man, where's this snake? Where's the snake? And then, like clockwork, and I recoil in horror because the snake just made the noise. Yeah. And I'm like, fuck, and I'm like, okay, I gotta go. I gotta totally go. I can't do this. And I just walk out, and 45 minutes later, she walks out of the reptile house. 45 minutes.
Look, I as a kid, I used to love the snakes and the reptiles. I used to think they were very interesting. Yeah. No one's spending 45 minutes in the reptile house. No. Which zoo is this?
Detroit Zoo.
Detroit. So I don't know. Maybe I'll have a fucking big reptile house, but in the Brookfield Zoo, it's not that big.
Here's what she was a photographer. Oh. And so she was like,
getting good shots.
She was like, I had to take pictures. I was like, you can't just hang out with me. That like now if that would happen now, it would have been, you can't just hang out for a day. Right. But at the time, it was like, oh, okay, cool, let's go. All right. Yeah.
I mean, at the least, she could have just come out and been like, are you okay?
Oh no, there was none of that. In. Just me hyperventilating in public. Yeah. Ugh. As a 22-year-old, just like, oh man, this is okay.
And now you're married.
No, that is my wife. Yeah. Good Lord. Yeah.
Don't tell her about Mallory.
Shit. We're going to a wedding next weekend that she's gonna be at. It's gonna be
this ex.
Oh yeah,
love it.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. If you want to do a follow up, we'll definitely do one.
See if you develop any new fears. Yeah,
just a healthy fear of people from my past, which I think most of us have. At a certain level.
I have anxieties over people from my past that I like.
Oh,
Like,
I
I'd be happy
totally
to see
get
them,
that.
but I'm like, I don't want to see them.
Yeah,
Like,
I don't
why
want
do
to
have that?
Yeah, just the catching up conversation is always very weird.
Yeah, the fear
for
that they've
comedians.
changed into something that you hate.
Totally.
Because
yeah.
everyone changes. You
totally.
you encourage change. But
Yeah, of course.
sometimes you meet someone and they're like, so how about this Trump fella, huh? And it's like, oh, no.
And then also just the you're like, this podcast is about your fears as a human, but like my fears as a comedian, one of the biggest ones is seeing someone from my past and then having to explain to them that I'm doing comedy and that it's okay that I'm not fucking Kevin Hart.
Yeah.
Like, it's the weirdest thing.
Because in comedy, you're either Kevin Hart or
Yeah.
you're on SNL.
Yeah.
Or you're throwing your life away.
Yeah.
Like,
There's no in between at all.
Even
yeah.
like I'll
Yeah.
some people don't even know who Louis C.K. is, and I'm like,
It's fine.
if you don't know who he
Yeah.
is at his level of fame,
How are
you're
you
never
going to
be impressed by anything I'm trying
Yeah,
to do.
it's like you're not gonna be stoked about Todd Glass. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like, you're never, like, you have no idea. Like, there's no. But here's the thing, that doesn't exist in any other profession.
No.
You know what I mean? Like, when I meet a doctor, I'm not like, oh, are you Jack Kevorkian?
Yeah.
No? Okay. Well, then you must be a shit doctor, asshole.
Are you one of the few doctors I've met?
Yeah. Are you Ben Carson? No. Oh, okay. You are garbage then.
It's like, you're a janitor?
Yeah.
Are you Matt Damon from
Yeah.
Good Will Hunting?
Yeah.
That's the only janitor I can think of.
Are you the janitor from Billy Madison that asked about the milk or whatever?
I haven't seen Billy Madison in a
Adam
long
Sandler,
time.
the
I've
fir-
seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know the character you're talking
You
about.
want you want some of this milk, sideburns? And then the janitor goes, I'd rather have a beer.
This is when the podcast gets off the rails.
I actually have a podcast starting with me and Bobby Buds. It's
I
called,
wanted to ask about
It's
that.
just me and Billy. It's just us talking about how great Billy Madison is.
Really?
No. My
I would believe. I
Yeah.
didn't question that for 1 second.
Oh no, that's definitely not real.
Is it with Buds?
No. It's with Mallory actually.
Yeah.
It's called Mind If We Join You.
Okay.
And we're gonna have a guest every week, and it is going to be nothing but tangents. It's gonna be fantastic.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, very excited.
Tangents are fun.
Yeah. And that
For
should
us.
that should be up in sometime in the next like month and a half. We've recorded none yet, but we have all the equipment, and we were gonna record on Tuesday, and we had a cancellation. So
Oh fuck yeah.
yeah,
That's
our
cool.
first cancellation, which I think is a big mark in the podcast community.
Yeah. Now you're officially a podcast.
Officially a podcast.
Doesn't matter if iTunes accepts you. If somebody cancels it.
not at all. Yeah,
Um.
we already hit a ditch.
Well, I
Yeah.
guess I mean I feel like we've covered the fear pretty.
I feel like we've more than got into it.
Yeah, I can't save you from that.
Is
I
that
try
the
to,
end
like-
of the story where you try and save someone?
No,
from it?
not. I don't
Okay.
ever try to save anybody, but I like do try to like figure out where it all comes from. But you
Yeah.
seem to know exactly.
Oh, I know it. This is a thing that I've talked about in therapy before.
Yeah.
I this is a little bit embarrassing.
Love
I
it.
tried to get hypnotized for it.
Did it work at all?
Obviously not. No, not at all.
Okay. Well, just because I've known people that
yeah.
like got hypnotized to stop smoking,
Yeah.
and like the trick was like hypnotized so it
Replace
tastes bad,
Okay.
and then they just wanted to keep smoking so bad that they
Yeah.
just would eat mints. But it did affect them. It just
Yeah.
didn't solve the problem. So that's what I was wondering. Like,
So
do you think it
biggest thing
changed at all?
Oh, nothing. The
Zero.
biggest thing in hypnotizing is just replacing things. So you're basically just taking one thing for another thing. So a fear of snakes, that's like you'd have to be actually hypnotized
Right.
instead of just tricking your brain that cigarettes were mints.
Sure.
You know what I mean? So it was a really tall order, and it didn't work at all. To the
Yeah.
point where she was like, "I'm gonna give you this for free." Because
Really?
you'd have to come twice a week for a long time for this to work. And I
Yeah.
was just like, perfect.
That's nice
I'll
that
see
she
you
was
later.
like, well, no,
Yeah.
this is out of my
Yeah.
control.
Totally. Yeah. But
Well-
I it's one of those things where I feel like I'd like to get over it just because maybe somewhere down the line I have a kid and he's not scared of snakes.
Right.
I'd like to be able to be like, yeah, I'd love to take you to the reptile house,
Yeah.
Junior. You know,
Yeah.
I'd love to, you know,
Or even something like,
Yeah.
I'd love to show you Disney's Robin Hood.
yeah, I'd love to watch Robin Hood with you. There's this better one that Mel Brooks made. It's called Men in Tights, and you're gonna love it.
Fuck yeah,
it's gonna be good.
Super inappropriate, but you're gonna watch it too young.
Very young. Dave Chappelle. That was another movie that I watched way too young.
Because
it was Robin Hood.
Yeah,
and it was like, yeah.
You go back and watch
it's like, oh, that's kind of a weird Mel Brooks movie.
Yeah,
and there's like a lot of race stuff in that movie.
Yeah,
and a lot of really, really, really well delivered poop jokes. A staple of the Mel Brooks diet.
Yeah. I watched it, like, when I finally went back and saw it as an adult, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But then I did think about it. I was like, well, it's Robin Hood, and the rating system sucked back then.
Yeah.
So my parents were like, yeah, PG.
Yeah. Let's get into it.
PG movie.
Yeah.
But I guess it is PG as parental guidance, but we don't need to get too into the...
Do you remember the first PG-13 movie you saw?
No, I remember the first R-rated movie I saw.
What was the first R-rated movie?
It was Rumble in the Bronx, starring Jackie Chan.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah,
of course. It's always an action movie. Your first one. The first rated R movie I saw was The Patriot.
Okay.
Which the first rated R movie I saw in the theater was The Patriot.
Okay.
And that movie was rated R for being dull and boring.
Right.
Yeah, it is a piece of shit. That movie sucks.
It's like in The Simpsons where the kids are like, we're going to sneak into a rated R movie. And then they pull away chanting, Barton Fink. Barton Fink.
Perfect.
Yeah. And just as a kid, you're like, what the fuck?
It's like, oh, I thought there was going to be at least one boob.
Yeah,
like,
a boob or a guy getting shot. Give me something here.
But the first rated R movie I remember seeing, period, was a perfect first rated R movie. It's American Pie.
Oh,
great.
That's great.
It's great. That's exactly what it should be.
That's what your first rated R movie should be.
Totally. Blink-182, watching a computer. It's fantastic.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah.
Man. Fuck. I don't even know where we were. I think I was trying to wrap it up.
I think you were as well.
Yeah, because what it like at the end of so I try to like figure out where everything comes from, but you've had it pretty.
Totally. Yeah, no, I know for sure. I definitely. Yeah.
So yeah, I guess I don't know. You're just gonna have to live with this.
I know, right? No, it's just a part of me, and I'm okay with it.
Yeah,
I'm okay with it.
It doesn't come up all that often.
Yeah,
it's just gonna. You're never gonna.
I'm never gonna
see the Harry Potter movies.
Yeah, I'm never gonna see the Harry Potters. I'm never moving to the Amazon. I think I'm gonna be okay.
All right. Well, I believe in you.
Thanks,
but before we get out of here, I wanted to circle back around to those plugs.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
So first, your Twitter.
At the Mike O'Keefe, TheMikeOkeefe. Follow me if you like pro wrestling and jokes about white guys with neck tattoos.
Fuck yeah! And then like website, Tumblr, and show dates, anything like that.
I guess you can go to themikeokeefe.com. I don't update it that much. There's tour dates on there. Do you know when this will drop?
Soon. I think.
Soon. Okay,
yeah.
So I'm at the Comedy Shrine in Aurora, Illinois with my really good friend Brad Wenzel, July 22nd and 23rd, and then a big co-headline weekend with a guy I started comedy with. We get to do this like once a summer, and it's like our favorite thing ever to get to work with each other. Me and the great Trevor Smith are co-headlining the Skyline Comedy Cafe in Appleton, Wisconsin, August 19th and 20th up there in Appleton. So if you're in the Fox River Valley, come see us. Or if you're in suburban Chicago, come and then come and please don't be holding or dressed like a snake. I appreciate it.
When you said holding, or I thought that was the end of the thought of holding, and I thought you meant drugs, and I was like, when did Mike become such a square?
Oh, yeah. No, I'm super straight edge now.
Fuck yeah, man. Oh, yeah. You got the black X's on your hands. I see it now. And then, I don't know. And the podcast, it was called Mind If We Join You.
Mind If We Join You. There's nothing up for it yet.
Sure.
So just
still look out for
be
it.
on the lookout.
Follow on Twitter so you can see when that drops.
Totally. Yeah.
That sounds fun.
And why not follow Bradford at MP Bradvo on Twitter. You can follow my lady. And
she's not even in the room. She gets 2 plugs on my
fucking podcast. She
gets
2 plugs. So fucking stupid.
And like usual, you can find me at Charlie Roar, ROHRER, and Tumblr.com. What is it? HearMeRoar.tumblr.com.
Yeah.
Once again, ROHRER.
And you can see both of us on the streets of Chicago, usually from about 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., walking any number of fantastic young dogs.
Mostly on the north side.
If you're in Roscoe Village, keep your eyes peeled.
And don't say hi to us. Just pet the dog and move on.
Yes, pet the dog and move on. I implore you.
All right, Mike. Thank you so much for doing my podcast.
This was a blast. Thanks, buddy.
Love
Best
you.
of luck with everything in your life.